Rais wa Kenya, William RUTO, amesema serikali yake inatambua maumivu na hasara zilizowapata Wakenya wakati wa maandamano yaliyoshuhudiwa nchini mwaka 2024 na 2025.
And let no one mistake compassion for impunity. Compensation does not retire accountability. Never before, however, have Kenyans expressed such a deep and widespread yearning for change and renewal. That yearning is legitimate, it is democratic, and it is protected by the Constitution. The right to assemble, demonstrate, picket, and petition under Article 37 is not a favor from the state.
Akizungumza wakati wa kupokea ripoti kuhusu fidia kwa waathiriwa wa ukiukaji wa haki za binadamu, Rais RUTO alikiri kuwa watu walipoteza maisha, wengine kujeruhiwa na familia nyingi kuathirika kutokana na machafuko yaliyotokea wakati wa maandamano hayo. Hata hivyo, Rais amesema mpango wa serikali wa kutoa fidia kwa waathiriwa ni
the report. Makofi tafadhali.
Ni hatua ya kusaidia uponyaji wa taifa na si kukiri hatia ya kisheria kwa serikali. Serikali inapanga kufidia maelfu ya waathiriwa waliopata madhara kutokana na maandamano na machafuko yaliyotokea katika miaka ya hivi karibuni. Kauli hiyo imezua mijadala mikubwa nchini, huku baadhi ya wadadisi wa siasa wakisema ni mara ya kwanza kwa serikali kutambua kwa kiwango hicho madhara yaliyowapata wananchi wakati wa maandamano.
Yet, we must also confront an uncomfortable truth. For far too long, whenever Kenyans have exercised these rights, too often the outcome has been violent, injury, loss of life, destruction of property, bitterness, and division. Families have buried loved ones. Young people have carried physical and emotional scars. Businesses have been destroyed. Police officers have been injured. Communities have been left traumatized. We must also acknowledge a difficult reality. There has been instances where the response to public demonstrations has resulted in excessive use of force, violations of rights, and loss of life. Equally, there has been occasions when legitimate protests have been infiltrated by criminal elements, leading to violence, looting, destruction, and harm to both citizens and law enforcement officers.
Hata hivyo, hakuna tamko rasmi lililotolewa na Rais RUTO linalosema kuwa anajitayarisha kukamatwa na International Criminal Court. Pia hakuna ushahidi wa kuthibitisha madai hayo kwa sasa.
You know, there are people who don't know the consequence of this occasion. There are people who underestimate the consequence of this occasion. It is part of us getting and making peace with ourselves as a nation. And I really want to persuade us as leaders to lead from the front. Many people have spoken to how it is easy to dodge this kind of thing. You know, there are so many reports that have been done. You know, one good friend of mine told me, you know, if you go this journey, you could easily be taken to The Hague because you are actually admitting that your government and those others have committed crimes. But so be it. We must confront this occasion. I've had to make very difficult decisions, so this is no excuse. Let's make this one as well, so that we can take the nation forward. And I want to congratulate the Kenya Human Rights Commission. You have done a good job. You've really done a good job. I mean, when somebody does a good job, let us call it what it is, carry forward. And I have listened to you very carefully, and you have said that we need to make resources available to you and your commission so that you can discharge your responsibility, because it is now almost a requirement that whatever it is we do, whether we are keeping the peace or we are running development, it must be in tandem with the rights of people. And so I agree with you, and I am very happy that you are making this request when everybody is sitting here.
Yani, the accused is now funding the investigators. It is like the driver who caused an accident paying the traffic police to keep writing the report about the accident. You see, Kenya is still hurting badly. Families are mourning, youths are angry, opposition leaders are talking crimes against humanity. And here is RUTO trying to flip the script, praising human rights bodies and offering reparations as a local solution.
This framework represents a major milestone in protecting the rights of those harmed during protests, advancing social reconciliation, providing redress for victims, and strengthening our democracy. As a demonstration of our commitment, we have already allocated Kenya shillings 2 billion towards compensation and reparation for those who have suffered verified harm arising from protests and unrest, including affected families, injured citizens, businesses lost, and law enforcement officers injured in the course of their duties. But let me be clear. This is, as has been said by many, the beginning of the journey, not the end. Let me also be clear about what these payments are and what they are not. They are not the price of life, of pain, or of loss. No amount of money could ever be. The Kenya shillings 2 billion we have committed cannot replace a son or a daughter. It cannot restore years and lot of trauma. It cannot fully compensate a family, a trader, or a community for all that has been taken away from them. What it does represent is the state's acknowledgement that harm occurred, that victims matter, and that a nation heals by tending to its wounds rather than pretending they do not exist. Nor is this redress a reward for violence, looting, criminality, or unlawful conduct. Neither should it be understood as a license for disorder on one hand, or excesses and violations of rights on the other. It is redress for harm suffered by citizens, an affirmation that the rule of law applies equally to everyone. And let no one mistake compassion for impunity. Compensation does not retire accountability. The law applies equally to the citizen and the officer, to the protester and the police. Where wrongdoing occurred, accountability must follow its proper course.